we keep it curious. Break it
I think
down
I'm
as a
just
fun.
so
Your
worn
girls
out
just
from
haven't figured out.
Having such a
yesterday.
good time.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm not a vodka drinker, and I definitely had like we have who does bottomless lemon drops? Wow,
That's kind of
wow,
dangerous.
it is dangerous. I did bottomless lemon
Yeah, no.
drops, and next thing I know, I'm sick. I'm sick, and I'm singing Wicked, and I'm like vibing. I don't know,
It's the
but
vibing for me. You really were
but
in them. You really were vibing.
I gave it. I gave my best American Idol performance.
I told you I was
Mm,
pausing the Grammy. You deserve one.
yes, thank you, thank you. Claps for me,
You're
claps
very
for
much so
me.
welcome. Hey,
Okay,
girlies.
hey, girlies, hey, sus
Mm.
stars,
Hey, sis stars. I keep
or
forgetting
sus
about the
stars.
branding. The sis
I know,
stars. What's up, sis stars?
sus stars,
Sis stars.
sus stars, sus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
All right. New
Yes.
week, right?
Well, new week. Welcome back to Sus the Pod. I'm
Bah, bah, bah,
TJ.
bah. And I'm TP. Hey, everyone.
Hey, sweetie. How was yesterday? I heard there was something monumental that happened in your life or
Yeah,
Jimmy's life.
yeah. Yeah, I was not about to say. Well, I guess mine, anecdotally. Yesterday was my partner's birthday, so we went out last night on the town and I let him drink freely, and I supported him
I
because
like
that's
that.
what people who are in a partnership they do. They
What did
support.
y'all do?
So we went out for a bite to eat for breakfast that morning with my cousin. Then we left from breakfast, came back home, took a little beat to really get ourselves together. We went shopping for a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. So we bought a host of sacred products because why would we not do that on his birthday?
Of course,
And we
of
did a
course.
little shopping for our own selves. And then after that, we went out that night and kind of like walked around to a couple different bars. So we went to the public house. We went to Have a Good Day or Have a Nice Day or whatever the bar is called. Have a nice time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went bowling. And I beat his ass about 4 times doing that.
You
And
didn't let him
so
win
that
because
was
it's his
fun.
birthday?
Absolutely not, honey. She knows how to bowl and she knows how to do that excellently. So I don't do that. So yeah, but long story short, very, very good day. Welcomed 33 in nicely. It's his Jesus year. So, you know how the girls feel about that one. So yeah, here we are. So thank you for asking. Well,
All
outside of
right.
yesterday, how was your weekend?
I was doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. I I had like I had a really rough week and I just needed to really
Have a
get
good
into some
time.
things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh
Mm-hmm.
I I impulse purchased a Switch too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I love
I
that. Are you
said
excited for its arrival?
not the funny thing is sure, not really, but sure.
Okay.
Um but it wasn't one of those things where I'm like, "Oh, I regret doing it." I said, "Well, just
The
take this
world's ending
card."
anyway.
Yeah, take this card.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
anyway, let's
That sounds
let's
very
get
exciting.
into it is exciting. I'm really excited. Well, let's get into the show with one
Yeah.
of the greatest segments on earth, other people's business.
You know me, you devil OPB, but everybody.
All
Wow.
right.
Wow.
So over the last couple, I guess it's last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris's book, 107 Days, has come out. And
Yes.
for those who don't know, which I feel like everybody should know, it was about her 107-day political campaign. And you and I have both started it. So I guess this is just going to be like one of those ongoing things that we continuously
Yeah, for
talk
sure.
about.
And the phone rang, and it was Joe Biden. And he told me what he had decided to do. And I asked him, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yes."
So where are you at? Where are you at in it? And how are you
Yeah.
feeling? I know there's some things that I've read that I do want to point out that I thought were very interesting
Yeah.
and unique.
Okay. I am just on the other side of her picking Tim Walz and
Hmm.
recognizing that like he is the person kind of vetting him and going through the process of vetting the other two candidates, and that whole experience. But up until so I'm around like August 4th, 5th ish, somewhere around there. Like so DNC hasn't happened just yet. None of those things have happened.
Hmm.
And one of the largest takeaways for me with this book is that it is a really cool picture of what actually happens.
Yeah.
We sit so far away from like the presidential race and like all the things that go into it. And this feels like a peek behind the curtain, but it's different because it's a black woman. And you've never had
Yeah.
a woman presidential candidate other than black woman presidential candidate other than Shirley Chisholm. And she didn't. I don't know if she actually made it to the ticket. I can't exactly
No,
remember.
she did.
Um, yeah, I didn't think so. So like this was really huge. So it has just been eye-opening to me to realize how all the isms actually work together to keep people in their spaces and places. And the book really shows like how racism, sexism, all those things really come into play to a person's life. So I've been getting into it. I've been reading it on TikTok Live with people and talking to people about it. Yeah, so I've been into it. How about you?
Yeah. Well, first plug your TikTok, since in case people want to
Yes. Yes.
join the book club.
My TikTok is at Talk About TP, TALKABOUT TP. And so I read like 3 times a week, and I don't read outside of the TikTok space. I only read it with people in the space, so that's why I'm a little further behind. But I
Hmm.
think it's cool to let people like in on the discussion around what was going on. So yeah,
All right. Thanks for the plug. And
of
he's
course,
record.
of course.
I mean, I know it's Sunday, so so me telling y'all this right now, it's not like y'all going to tune
I
in
know, right?
immediately. But he's doing it today. But there's a
I
couple of
am.
things that I thought were interesting because I too am like right after she picked Tim Walz. One of those things, it was when they were talking about when Doug became second
Mhm.
gentleman, and he had to. They said that he had to cook and clean. It said
Child.
they didn't have the second lady and now second gentleman. Those folks don't have like they don't have
Like, what is he supposed to
anyone like
do?
manning the house. I said that is crazy.
Mhm.
They expect
Yeah.
the wife to be folding, doing dishes, and all of that.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I also found it interesting that Kamala didn't have a strong relationship with the Bidens, and when she was talking
Yes.
about how she didn't get invited to the cookout up until like 3
Mhm.
years in, I'm
Yep.
like, "Huh,
Yeah,
that."
that was eye-opening for me too.
I think to me it sounded like just Jill didn't like her.
Yeah, yeah, and I think Jill, to me, from what I'm like starting to see of her, she is also a woman who has had to like scratch and claw in her own
Mhm.
spaces. And so Kamala coming in, one being black, but then being equally as confident, having the understanding, all of those things, and the lived experience, I think there was just not enough room for two women to have that
That's
big of a
crazy.
space. Yeah, that's what I think.
I don't I I foresee as we get further into this book that it's not gonna make Jill look any better
No,
throughout. So it sucks.
absolutely
It sucks
not.
because mentally I'm like, oh, like before all of this came out, I'm like, oh, I she seemed like this nice older lady, but I
Yeah,
don't like the way they're treating my girl. Um,
me
but
either.
but speaking about the way it's just been treated, another thing that I thought was very special was when she talked to the Zetas and
Yes,
she there was when she was talking about there was like this understanding in the room that this is going to be we're
the
here for
thing.
you, and
Yeah,
yeah, and it's going to be hard. And I
yeah,
think that's kind of where a lot of us black folks, when we reflect on how all of this ended up playing out, and I don't think uh a lot of the other people understand why the election was so triggering to where we're like, we're not helping you all no more
Yeah.
because of the
Oof.
way that we, even though it kind of played out almost as expected that the people would, backstab her in so many different ways,
For sure.
but folks don't deserve what we have to offer here. That's what it's building up towards to me.
Yeah.
And I just
Yeah.
like, and she
It's
was just,
interesting too, though. Go ahead. I'm
mhm.
sorry.
I was just like, she was just the way she initially approached all this, she was just such a cool, like, it was such a cool approach and young and modern and they just sucked all the life out of it.
Yeah. No, it really did. It is interesting to like see her talk about. I was watching her interview with, I think his name was like Scott Evans on House Party or
Mhm.
whatever. And she was saying like this, she hopes that the book provides people with the understanding that this is not the time to like throw your hands up, like we're not helping you no more, we're done doing it. It was like this is the time where you really should be rolling your sleeves up. And she was
Mhm.
like, and it's hard to grapple with that. And I think he even cried a little bit when she was talking about like the promise of what could have been, and like that feeling of utter and sheer, like that gutted feeling of like, holy shit, life is falling apart at the seams. And so
Yeah.
we should feel very like, oh, well, put my hands up, girl, ain't nothing we can do. But then we risk the fact of like killing ourselves, literally and figuratively, if we don't like try to push back and recognizing how much power we have as the people. So it is
Yeah.
like really inspiring in that way. But another thing that shocked me too was the section where she had to call some of the delegates and like some other people, and so she called like the
Mhm.
Obamas, the Clintons, and then she got down to Nancy Pelosi and Gretchen Whitmer, which was really gagging to me, where Gretchen was like, I'm gonna have to talk to my people, I'm just not sure yet. And I'm like, we are all Democratic colleagues. Why are we not on one accord about what is happening? There should not be a
Yeah.
conversation if the highest Democrat in the party has already given his blessing. Why would you need to talk to anybody? Or why would you think that outside of typical tradition, Nancy Pelosi, would we have a coronation? That would never be
Mhm.
a thing. And it was never and I think there's more nuance behind the scenes with that too, because you know damn well Jill and all them and Nancy Pelosi, because they've been in the circles with each other just so much already. There was already some
Yeah.
established relationship. So that whole like coronation thing, that conversation was had somewhere else around it shouldn't be a coronation and talking that shit. And so when she called, it was that talking about, I'm so sad, this is devastating about Joe, but it's you. What the fuck do that even mean? Like it just was weird for me. So I've been like clocking the T, because racism is racism no matter where you go. And I don't care whether you're on the Democratic side or the Republican side. The only reason why you didn't want her to win is we know. Like,
Mhm.
so it's kind of interesting to me. Scott also asked her like, did she talk to anybody around like her experiences of the situations beforehand. She said she had to meet with a couple people to like give them a heads up, but she wouldn't tell exactly who they were about like some
Yeah.
of the things that she would be revealing. But I can only imagine how some people are like, well, I didn't think that was racist, or I didn't think that was sexist. And it's like, that's the fucking problem. That's why she's writing
Yeah.
this book, so that other people can say, hey, this was actually very sexist. This was actually very racist or misogynistic or whatever. So, or a misogynoir, which is I think is a lot of what's happening here. So,
Oh, of course. And I think my last thing on it, because of course the book has already got me looking a couple people crazy,
oh,
Gretchen,
absolutely.
down to Shapiro. Okay, so as she was picking those VP candidates, she was basically saying she wants someone who is kind and doesn't want someone who wants to be a co-president and
Yep.
someone who appreciates like the everyday person, right?
Yeah.
So it blew my mind, Josh Shapiro coming up in here basically like measuring the drapes as soon as he got in the car with the
Okay.
assistant.
Okay.
Like what?
Girl, I
And
was like, what the fuck? But that seems like on brand for him.
yeah, and he talking about he want to be
Ugh.
at every meeting she's in. She's like, no.
Girl, this
It's
is not a presidential committee. I'm the
right.
president and you're the vice. But again, I want to be in on every conversation because I have some audacious nature that thinks that me, a
Hmm.
skinny white man, as vice president, after being asked to be vice president, has the nuts enough to have to be in every single meeting that you have as a president. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. Absolutely not.
Yeah. I appreciate, Tim Walz for just being him, just being a nice
Yeah.
guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so amazing that like his elevation really came from social media,
Yeah.
and that's, took all that into consideration, and he ended up on the short list. Do you think she was wrong for not including Pete on the top three?
To say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay is hard to hear.
No. That's not what I said. That he couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. My point, as I write in the book, is that I was clear that in 107 days, in one of the most hotly contested elections for president of the United States, against someone like Donald Trump who knows no floor, to be a black woman running for president of the United States and as a vice presidential running mate, a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
Yeah, I'm glad we got here. I think this is a big conversation that I have to have like in a workplace a lot of the times too,
Hmm.
that white gay men specifically don't understand the compounding identities of being both like women, queer, gay, and then have race on top of that. And so
Hmm.
the response from Pete Buttigieg is very like privileged in the way that like why would you not think that I would be a good vice president? They wouldn't have elected a black woman, let alone a black woman and a gay man with a husband and child, when having
Hmm.
children and the conversation around what a nuclear family is and what a typical family is always up for question. That would have made the race so much harder. And it is unfortunate that as a gay white man, you can't see the intersectionality that exists between Kamala's existence. Like she's
Yeah.
like four different things mashed into one. And so it's really disheartening that people like that use being gay, even though they are white or maybe, not necessarily one of a minoritized group. They use that as their one difference. And so it's like, well, if I'm different here, this should be enough. We can't, like, race is something that we can't get around. It's salient. And so people need to realize that compounding those things would have put the biggest bullet hole in her foot as she was just starting to run. And so she
Yeah.
made an executive decision to say, I love you, but I wouldn't put you in harm's way. One,
Like
to
with
be
Mark Kelly.
ridiculed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like, that shit
Hmm.
is crazy. And you see how people talk about gay people, and let alone in our own community, how they talk about gay people. So just imagine her running mate. They would have trashed Kamala and him at the same time. It would have been a no-show from that point forward had she picked him.
Yeah, it would have been a disaster. And I think too much of a risk. I don't even know if the payoff or reward would be, but I think he also has his own issues because of course he's not popular with black folks. He's
Mm-mm.
never
Yeah.
been.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think attaching himself to her, that wouldn't have helped either.
No, absolutely
Um
not.
And if he wants to hold these positions, the position of being president or whatever, then I think that is going to have to be something that he does for himself without being attached to this a black woman or whatever the case is. But of course, he's well qualified to do whatever he wants to do. He's a great
Absolutely.
speaker, very smart. It's not even one of those things where I feel like, is America ready for? It's just like, I don't know if that's the one if that is the one to
Yeah.
hang our hat up on, but
I don't think
um
they're ready for it.
I think it has to be there has to be a situation. I think
I
I
like I don't even know if it has to be a situation. I just don't like the pendulum of
Hmm.
like whatever has swung so far to the left with Obama that people are
Hmm.
still trying to make it swing back right from that
Yeah.
time because he pulled the pendulum pretty far left and it stayed far left for a long time. Even with Trump's first win, it still swung pretty left in that. But now that people have the reins back, they are taking that pendulum and throwing it all the way on the other side. And I don't think it's going to be, we won't see a black person as a president or a woman president for at least another 5 to 10 years, I don't think.
If there was anyone, it'll probably just be Westmore because Westmore looks really good. I mean, that is honestly, that's
Mm-hmm.
what sells
Right
it.
there.
So he looks good. He's cool. He's young. I think
And
that
where's
is
he
way
from?
more acceptable. Maryland. So I think he's our governor. So I think if there's ever one, and he's not, controversial. So,
Because he
and
bald
he's,
headed, right?
yeah, small head,
Yeah.
bald head.
Yes. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Uh,
A big
he, and
strong man.
yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Plays football, all those things.
Oh, a
Very,
man's man.
yeah, the
Yeah.
people are gonna eat that up. If not president, he'll be like a vice president, I'm sure. If we ever get a woman, it's gonna be a Republican woman, I can tell you that. If
Oh,
she can make it through,
absolutely.
if she can make it through whatever their primary or whatever thing, I don't think it's any stopping a woman on that side
Like a
from.
Nikki Haley or something like that, you think?
Well, not her, 'cause she's already she
Would
was
you say
she was I mean, she
no?
was close enough. She was close enough. I
Yeah.
think she might
Yeah.
have, if it wasn't for Trump, she might have pulled it off. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but so, and she's probably, I'm certain, I think she's probably the closest they've
Mm-hmm.
ever gotten to having a woman on the top of the ticket. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, they have next go round. If it's like JD Vance, he picks a woman on the ticket or something like that. So, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, like I said, we'll continue talking about this book as we get
Yes,
um
absolutely.
through it. It's really good. I would love people to pick up a physical and also get the
Yes,
audio too, because
absolutely.
the audio has just like some nuance to it, especially
It
when she's
does.
telling the story, and like the way she's telling it, the tone, just like giggles, like all that stuff. I think it's very much
Mm-hmm.
worth picking it up,
Yeah, for
and listening
sure.
to it. Uh,
Absolutely.
okay, and so while we're in our political bag, I want to talk about real quick. So James Comey, the former FBI director, has been indicted by the Trump administration. So, background, just to get everyone caught up.
Yeah.
He is the one who launched that investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails,
Mm-hmm.
and as we all remember, days before days before the 2016 election, he brought attention to like more emails that they found. Although it was like a nothing burger, right?
Yeah, of
It pretty
course.
much it pretty much ended, like it collapsed the whole campaign within the last couple of days for Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, so we got Trump.
Yep.
Um but he was also a part of like Trump's investigations, like Russia and all these type of
Yeah.
dealings. And so Trump already did not like him, and Trump fired him. Because usually the FBI director is supposed to be um there for, I think, 10 years. They're supposed to have like a 10-year term or something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
So that they won't be influenced by, whoever the
Mm-hmm.
president is. Donald Trump, of course, he's back now, and he has not forgiven Mr. Comey. And so they had Comey testifying. Comey testified to Congress a while back. And when he testified, apparently they said that he perjured himself.
Yeah, what does that
And
mean?
and they were running, the statute of limitations is running out, so it was like it was
I
going to
think
be
it
up
ran out
this.
like Tuesday or Monday last week.
Yeah, it was about to run out.
Mm-hmm.
So they like, oh, let me try. Let's get him. This is our last chance. Let's get him. So he has now been indicted on 2 counts here. So my question for you, and I want to know your thoughts here. Even though this is such a dangerous like precedent for sure
Yeah.
for the president to come after his enemies, but do we feel sorry for this, or is this like something that we feel like he deserves?
I feel like it's a little bit of both. I think two things can be true at the same time. Like, this is also like when you lay down with a dirty ass dog like a Trump, you come
Hmm.
up with fleas. So like this, and I think he said something about this. Like, this is what happens when you do stand up against the aggressor, and all
Hmm.
those things. But one time he was in the aggressor's pocket, and so I think that this is like a natural order. Jumping back to Kamala, she talked about how this is what the end game is, to prosecute, his staunchest what you call those
Enemies.
people. Yes. And I think this is one of those things. And what is interesting to me is just the legality and the structure of this indictment. It seems very weak because they've already found that he wasn't the one that actually leaked in any information. There was somebody else, I can't remember the man's name, that said he didn't direct it.
Yeah.
That guy was the one that actually did the telling. And so they're trying to make it be James Comey, and it's not. And so I think that what is interesting and what is funny to me about all this is its optics, but they don't do anything. And that's what
Hmm.
all this has been about, signing executive orders and doing all these things, when people don't realize that executive orders, yeah, I mean, yeah, they do mean something, but they're not law. They don't let those things don't do anything. And so I think this is another one of those things where it's like, I need to show you that I'm going to
Yeah.
prosecute you, so that anybody that is thinking about going against me can stop, or let me set a
Yeah.
dangerous precedent that I'm going to start coming after anybody that says anything about me. But what is funny about it is they're stupid. You hired an insurance attorney to do this job. Like, stupid. So like they don't even have the wherewithal to understand that the things that they want to do, they don't have the actual knowledge to do it. So it just seems like very on brand for them. So I'm excited to see the trial play out for them to
Yeah.
realize that it's a nothing burger again.
Yeah, like a lot of these lawsuits are that the Trump administration that they're doing, they're pretty flimsy. But
Yeah.
I think it feels like the bigger goal is to make sure that you are in a financial bind, Nate. Like that you have to hire all
Mm,
these lawyers and you have to, spend who knows millions of dollars or something, go
yeah.
bankrupt to protect yourself, to stay from out of jails, to keep from out of jail. So he's trying to twist this is all of this is really crazy because it's kind of like the same thing that happened with like Jimmy Kimmel and like getting him off the
Mm-hmm.
air. It's like we're going to
Yeah.
threaten to do these things, and the problem is these folks just kind of give in without putting up a fight. But
Yeah.
in reality, if you put up the fight, you'll probably win the fight through
Mm-hmm.
all
Yeah,
of this
for
because they
sure.
don't have any legal. There's everything is just off a whim, and it's not. Nothing has any type of um background, research, evidence, anything. It's just charging people
Uh-uh.
and making all these threats. So I'm interested to see how it plays out. Do I feel bad? I thought about it for a second. I'm like, well, no, because we would if he didn't
Well, no.
if he didn't meddle in the 2016 election, then I feel like we probably would not be here right now.
Very
So
true. Very
what goes
true.
around has come back around. It's like a boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
When
Yep.
those tables turn,
Listen, when the clown comes back to bite.
it did. It nibbled. It nibbled a little
Mm-hmm.
bit.
It really did.
Okay. Um, something lighter. We have a couple lighter things here. Just want to give a cute
Yeah.
little follow-up to Cardi B and her very successful launch week. It looks like she is going to have this #1 album on the billboards. She's apparently sold over 200,000 copies, which is really amazing for anybody, honestly. Like, you don't see that
Yeah.
at all.
Mm-hmm.
But in to go along with the album, she did ruffle some feathers, and one of those people's feathers that she ruffled was JT.
Bitch, bring the baby ass bitch, run away, dirty foot ass bitch, backdooring ass bitch, hit on your friend ass bitch. You see her going through it. You see her going through it in life and put her on blast on social media ass bitch. You a hating ass bitch, ungrateful ass bitch.
Because of course she said some very nasty things about JT and Lil Uzi, her man, about them sharing bags and using dildos and other things. And JT said something. She didn't get in the booth, which
Of
is
course not.
of course not. She didn't get in the booth, but she did pick up her phone and was tweeting and blah 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 blah.
Now this bitch on live saying she got my news. Revenge porn? Weird ass bitch. Fuck you got my I got your everybody got your news in they motherfucking phone. I bet it ain't no glass object up my pussy. I bet it ain't a room full of niggas and bitches.
And then they have this thing. Now they have this thing where JT's bringing up these allegations against Cardi B's man, and I just want to say that they are arguing down on whose man is more gay. So this is out of
Which is
control.
crazy.
But Stephon Diggs, he alleged that he drug and sexually assaulted this guy named Chris Blake Griffith, and
I don't know who them
JT
children are.
I don't know who that man is either, but
Mm-mm.
that man has been doing interviews and just telling stories to Tasha K, who's always in the mix. And I hope Cardi B's still collecting her money from her. uh, but so in this particular situation, do you think it's fair for JT to make these allegations about whether if this man was hooking up with these other men or whatever the case is?
Yeah. I just think it's really weird that one would want to argue about how gay your man is. Like, make that make any sense. So, for me, it's giving a little delulu for both of them because,
Mhm.
first of all, JT, your nigga wears a purse. Like that,
Absolutely.
a purse. He's a bad bitch.
She said, we don't share. He has his own.
And you thought you ate down with that? And you know what? And I need to dial it back too, because I was gonna make you brought it up earlier, but homophobic as fuck to be arguing back and forth around whose man is more gay to show that there's some ostracization, however you say it, around whoever's man is more gay, particularly from two people who the gays go up for them more than anybody else. So it's crazy that there's an open argument around who is more gay or gayer when at least 85% of both their audiences are gay men. So that shit is weird. I do think it is kind of weird but not off par for JT to bring Stephon Diggs in it and then also bring up a conversation around an investigation that clearly is not in a court. It's just word of mouth. When anybody could bring up, whatever kind of dealing she may have had with Young Miami and Diddy or what, it could have been so many different things that one could say, well, hey, you would know it very well, mama. Your homegirl we downtown Miami with Diddy and Baby Oil. So what are we really discussing here? So I think it's just weird. Both of them just seem really weird for arguing about this with each other. JT has always been super this is me. I've never been a JT fan naturally. She's just not that. She doesn't do it for me. And this is not to say that Cardi is the best thing in the world either, because she don't really necessarily do it for me either. She's not a rapper that I'm like, girl, let me jump down to this song and hear what she got to say, because most of it sound the same. Excuse me, but it is just weird that they're arguing on the internet and going back and forth about whose man is gayer. And it's like, both of y'all, man, is gay. If that's what we talking about.
And that's
Like, both
it.
of
That's
them.
it.
Yeah,
Y'all with
like,
them.
that's it.
Y'all with them.
Period. So weird.
That's like the worst type of argument to have with each other. And then while midweek, of course, um, Cardi B's arch rival, Nicki Minaj announced that
Child.
her album was coming out in March, which, to be fair, she did say over a year ago that this album will be coming, but that initially pretty much stemmed from her wanting the girls to drop their music. It was like the conversation was really like, drop your music. I'm going to do numbers higher than X, Y, and Z. So she apparently felt like, all right, bet. Cardi B's doing well, so it's time to like really play ball. So now we're here. Me myself, I don't think that that date is gonna stick because she'd just be lying about about
That's weird.
timelines. But I think all of this is really good just for the genre in itself because the fans get to eat. The fans get to,
Yeah,
your
true.
faves are doing meet and greets and tours and like all these things that you don't get. So healthy competition, I'm all for it. And they
I
and the
wish I wish I
music.
was. Only
Oh,
because it doesn't feel like good beef anymore. Like, it just feels like extra corny. Like, even with the whole Nicki Minaj and Megan thing, like, it doesn't feel very like beef. It feels like I'm just being a petty bitch to be one, and there's not much of like actual rap beef. And like, even like then lying on your dead mom like that. Why would you say shit like that? Like, it's just, it'd be like crazy shit. So I'm just interested to see like if this is something that she comes out with, how much of it will be predicated to dissing
yeah.
her. And it's like, she didn't, from what I haven't listened to the whole album, but I don't think a core of her album was dedicated to shading Nicki Minaj. I definitely think she did,
It was
but
not.
I don't think that, like, yeah, it was not. So, but I can guarantee you that there's going to be a whole section in this potential album that will be dedicated to trying to just throw jabs for the sake
Well,
of throwing them because she needs to bully.
I want to say this before we
Yeah.
switch topics here. I think like the female rap like genre in itself,
Hmm.
conflict is actually kind of like what activates people and makes all that exciting for them. I honestly
Facts.
think that like they are like half in on it too. Like, you want to
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
this is how you're going to get those sales and people activated and
Hmm.
listening because we have to beef. Being best buddies and friends is not going to sell records. Okay?
Yeah.
The
True.
conflict, unlike the guys, the conflict here, that's what people are very excited about, and that's why folks decode the music and like get really into it. And then
True.
when there's nothing there, just it doesn't hit as hard. So we'll see how it goes. I'm just looking forward to
True.
more good music. And then
Period.
lastly, before I guess this can be some quickies. So, Solange, you want to speak a little bit about Solange and her curation of wonderful books?
Yeah. Yeah, we love that. And in the I wanted to talk about this just a little bit. But in the age of like where books are being banned and museums are being shut the fuck down, I thought it was really
Mm,
cool that Solange launched her a library, like, of a collection, and it's a public library, like, that people can borrow books one at a time. And it's called St. Heron Library, and so it's like for out of print works that by Black folks that don't exist anymore. And so one of the things that it just made me think about was like Kamala's book too. You think about
mhm,
like if there's ever a time where books would be banned, her book could be a book that is banned, and we won't understand the real like deal of what the fuck happened in these particular times. So it just made
yeah,
me really think about like, get it, like you said earlier, go get that damn book, go get the audio book, save your thing, like save all the things that are worth saving from Black artists and Black writers and Black photographers and things like that, because without their firsthand account, we don't know what happens to us. And
Yeah.
if they already are erasing our shit, I think it's so important that we like think about that. So like I think it was like the Braxtons, their first album was in there, and just like a whole bunch of other stuff. So like visual art, design, all those things can start to go into the space. And so nobody
I
has
love
really
that.
thought about creating on such a large level for Black folks. But like I think about the Jet magazine. Jet magazines are not as popular anymore, but like my grandpa used to save everyone for every month. And I can only imagine how much history of things that happened that are in those spaces that people who wrote about them or lived them are dead now, and nobody
Mhm.
actually thinks about it. So it just made me think about like how are we, as in the niggas, how are we really
Yeah.
thinking about how we curate our own art, our own
Mhm.
things, our own culture in a way. And so I was like, you know what? Of course, Solange is the one thinking about where the artist at, what are we doing, how are we like holding up, what has been important to our culture, and who needs to actually see it, even though they may not think it's of importance right now. So very, very cool. We love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love just being able to preserve our history because, we're in a time where
Ooh.
there's so many forces trying to rewrite where
Yeah.
we've been, erase what we've done.
Okay.
So I
Erase. Fuck, we're right.
so I love that, and I hope that, more people, I hope this type of collection continues to grow and a lot more people have access to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I just want to say just a couple things about it. The library does allow people to borrow books or the items
Period.
within for 45 days at no cost.
Yes, yes, get into the logistics. We love that. See, so
Yes,
take your
yes,
ass to the library, get the things, read, research. Take your ass to the public library. That also works too. So don't just go to
yes.
Solange's library. Take your ass to the public library or down into your local town in Wichicoochee,
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, wherever you at.
Yes, and get you a library card and
Period.
download Libby. Okay, all right, all right, all right. And that is it for this segment,
Okay.
Other People's Business. I had a brain fart for a
Mm-hmm.
second. I was like, what? Wait a minute.
You say,
Um,
for what we were talking about.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all
Oh,
right.
yeah.
We are ready. Are you ready for Is It Really That Deep?
I am very, very ready. You said you had a surprise, so let's get into it.
Okay, so this week's Is It Really That Deep? I'm just gonna call it hobo hobosexual.
Hobosexual. Okay. Let
All
me
right.
make sure I'm ready for my notes, honey.
Yes.
So I'd be having questions.
I'm gonna name this person Kareem. Okay?
Kareem. Okay.
Kareem.
Okay.
Okay, so Kareem met King on Tinder and they had great conversation, great chat. Things turned very physical, like, it's physical as in like
Mm-hmm.
in a sexual way, and
Yeah.
it was amazing.
Okay.
And King continued to stay in Kareem's apartment.
Oh,
Yeah, since then,
okay.
they just waking
Oh,
up
since then. Oh,
since then.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. After they started hooking up, King just continued to stay there. And King never contributed to the groceries, the bills, the rent, although they spent money on themselves. So they just
Okay.
weren't contributing anything. So Kareem realized that King had no intention on supporting him. And so after Kareem heard King allude to trying to get legal residency, I guess by receiving mail at that place, right?
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's giving squatters of sorts.
Yeah.
Um, so what Kareem did was put together a plan to drive King out.
Okay.
Kareem made a fake eviction notice, got his cable cut off, the electricity cut off, all the way until King eventually just like left. And Kareem was just like, although it hurt to have to, go that far, Kareem did get their space back and their peace back. So, do you think it was ever, ever really that deep to cut off all of your utilities and go to these extreme measures to get somebody out of your house?
Ooh, you know, it's not that deep because like
Mm,
well, let's go back because the first place that had me alarmed, I took a little bit of notes because I wanted to make sure I had it
yes,
right. The first thing
yes.
for me is you met on Tinder, turned physical,
Mm-hmm.
and then King stayed in the apartment since they first started fucking around and does
Mm-hmm.
not contribute to the house. That's where that was the first
Yes.
woohoo. What's going on here? So once I right there is where I have a problem. Okay, so let's check
Mm-hmm.
the board. You knew you knew that he wasn't going to contribute. So instead of asking him to leave, you stressed yourself out by making a fake eviction notice, getting your lights and things cut off. Absolutely not, honey. Tell him to get out. And if he can't get out, 911. Come and get this man, this strange young man out of my home. I
Not
don't
the
know.
strange young man.
Yeah, I don't know him like that. We have screwed around. I'm a person who is very like upfront. If the police gotta come over here, baby, listen, we was fucking. I don't like it no more,
Mm,
and now he won't get out. Murder. I'm scared. I own the apartment. Come get him. There is no way that I'm going to sacrifice my own things and have to shut down and create a fake letter and do that. Never that deep. If we got to fight, we got to fight. If I got to slip a little poison and a little eye drops down in your water over a
not
couple
the
weeks,
eye, not the eye drops in the coffee. My God.
listen, because what you're not about to do is wreck my life like this. But see, this is something else too that is really scary, and I thank God that I don't have to deal with this. But so much is like randomly meeting people and not knowing who they are at all,
Mm-hmm.
and then you wind up in this situation. So anyway, long story short, it's not that deep for me. I'm not doing all of that. I am not
Mm,
making a fake eviction because, like, are you scared of him? Like, is he threatening you in some way? Like, and then also the whole like we're spending money on ourselves, but then we're not spending money on the household. All right, well, you come up in here with a bag full of
oh,
Wendy's.
let me tell you this.
Where, where's
I cut
that?
out this. I cut out this part. The guy was like, "You got you could afford it before I got here. Why can't you afford it now?" Yes,
See, oh hell
that was
no, oh hell no.
that's what it said. Is that not
He
crazy?
said, "Oh, well, I showed up here already and everything was fine. So what's the difference now?" Wow,
Yep.
what a lazy bitch. There would be no baby, the way his shit would be on the curb, door locked. I'd go down to the damn apartment complex so fast. There is a strange man that has followed me from the club, you all. I'm so scared. Can you
Oh
help
my
me?
God.
Not what the fuck? There's no way in God's green earth that I would allow a nigga the way I would have hauled back and grabbed a chair and hit that nigga talking about some you could afford it before I got here.
Mm.
Please. Please. Boy, go to hell. And make sure you go to hell so hard and so fast that it singed the damn pubic hair off your ass. Please. What the fuck? That's crazy.
That is crazy.
No.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, the people just forget to use your words and say, "Hey, you need to go."
Yeah,
Well, I feel
yeah.
like how do we miss all of this that you have to start faking these things, but you just gotta go. You gotta go.
It's the cutting us lights off. And do you know how much that shit costs? Like, I'm not faking doing none of that. I'm not going through printing off no letter and all of that. Words mean things. Get your ass out. That's what it
Mm,
means. Like, there is no way. But this is like, and I'm gonna be careful how I tell this. But I have
mhm,
had an experience similar to this, not in a romantic way, but like in just in a roommate way that wouldn't pay any bills, struggled to do this kind of thing, kind of like was a squatter too. And I guess in the moment it is a bit harder to have those conversations because you're already distraught. You're trying to make sure that you can keep a sense of like normalcy in your home. But
yeah,
then also you don't want to like put yourself in any danger. But
mm,
at the same time, it was like, okay, well, this is not gonna work because now like I'm not about to get evicted. We don't have this kind of thing. So no, no.
mm.
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine being in a scenario like this because a nigga would be out my house so fast it would break his damn neck.
Sometimes, our brains just don't be clicking. And I understand that he was knocking the sonic rings, you know,
Mm-hmm.
out, but this is unacceptable and it's silly. Um,
Listen, no, no, mm-mm. You better be knocking them out real good for me to be doing some shit like that. And I don't think there's that much sonic ring knocking that one could do.
look, that's what they
Mm-mm.
do. That's what they do when they need something out of you. All right, so this was great. This is great. All right,
I'm
so
screaming.
isn't that crazy? So let's get to the meat and potatoes of
Yeah,
today's
y'all.
episode. Um, so I wanted to bring to the floor the idea of a midlife crisis. But before I get in there, what age would you say
A midlife
that
crisis should happen.
yeah.
I would say, excuse me, midlife crisis should take place between mid 40s and
Mm.
60.
Oh man,
Like,
okay.
because I think you could vary. Like, you may hit it at 40, but you may hit it going into 50 and trying to get it together over 50. And by the time you're 60, you really have hit it again. Because that gives you enough
Mm.
time to, like, if you need to pivot in your career, you have enough time to reestablish.
Okay. So interesting. I would have said maybe I think 40 is like I think 40 is a good age there, I guess. Not that you should be
Yeah.
having crises, but I like over as I said earlier in the episode, I'm like I had a really rough week
Hmm.
and it made me just kind of think about what do I want to do? Like what am I doing with my life? Like what
Yeah.
there's things about like not hitting certain goals, like being a homeowner that I know a lot of people
Yeah.
our age are like panicking about. I thought about
Hmm.
that for myself. Like, where what, do I want a house? How can I afford these things? Like, where do I even want to live? That's the other piece. Like, where do I even
Yeah.
want to live? I'm not super happy, even though I live in the DMV. I'm not super happy being here because I didn't really come here by choice. I can't like initially I came here because I was unemployed. So I came back home and now I have a job and of course
Hmm.
on all that. So I'm like, oh, what I would rather be somewhere else, but I've just my tentacles are just all through this place now because now I have an
Yeah.
amazing group of friends. Dating life is good. The support system is all here and I feel a little bit stuck
Yeah.
and work is working me and I just
Mm.
it's it's a full like 360 and I'm not misstating this. I know people like, you mean, how some people like 180, blah, blah, blah. It's a full 360 because because um so much is happening in the world, in the news, in DC itself as a city, and it all
Yeah.
connects me to work. And I feel like I don't have, I can't get away. It's just
Yeah.
24/7. And I'm like, where do I go from here? What do I do
Yeah.
next?
Yeah, this is like I think this is like commonplace for folks in our age bracket too because we've lived through a lot of like changing, like we're in like quick changing experiences when it comes to life. Like you think about like 9/11 and then the
Mm-hmm.
recession and then think about the pandemic and like all these different like elements that have come into the space. You think about the war in Afghanistan, like all of these things have like impacted and shaped the way the economy is up until now. Here we are all these years later, and we are the ones having to jump into it. Um, but it seems to be a commonplace thread with everybody right
Yeah.
now. Like, what am I doing? Like, what do
Mm-hmm.
I want to do? And I think it's primarily because the world is so chaotic,
Yeah.
and so it forces you to really look at like, oh shit, like, am I doing something that's making me happy? Because if not, I don't have an outlet to be happy because the world's not happy right now.
Yeah.
I'm a person, excuse me, who is I change jobs like I always change jobs between 2 and 4 years because I cannot sit still. Like this is great. I've learned the skills that I need, but it's time for me to go on to somewhere else. And this is the fourth year that I've been at my job. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
also at the same space where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, do I want to do this?
Yeah.
Like I quit school and I was in the third year, about to start the third year of my 3-year doctoral program, like because I had the same questions, like, do I want to live here? This is cute. My tentacles are here, but like, do I want to buy a house? Can I buy a house and go to school at the same time? Like all of those
Mm-hmm.
different things. So I think it's just really hard for people to like try to navigate all of the things, whatever they might be. And I just don't know like where and how one will navigate it because you don't know the future. But
Yeah.
it makes me think about like taking into account like what does oneself need? Like, is it like, do you need a job where you're getting up and traveling every weekend or every month or whatever? Or is it the fact that you're looking for something where you can have afternoons off and actually take the time to go to a park, to go on a date with yourself, to have time to write, to do those things? And you have to start to think about like what things are more important. And then once you make
Mm-hmm.
a list of those things are important to you, you really have to make some sacrifices to say, okay, do I need a Birkin bag every 6 months? Okay, well, if I don't, maybe I can step away from my job and that's paying me maybe 8 figures or scruples. And I'm giving all of
Scruples.
my time to it. How do I like pull back some and say no? How do I like do my job and leave it where it is? How do I create better space between it? And so one of the things I have been working with my therapist to talk a little bit about is like separating the things that I think I need versus the things that I want. And then
Yeah.
recognizing like you are only chasing like getting a new job, going to these places because you want things that you don't necessarily need. So like
Mm.
what does Tori need to feel successful? Do you have it right now? Okay, so why are you breaking your neck? If you don't have it right now, what is the plan to make sure that you can have it? And does it involve the drive of you having more money to feel secure? Or is it about
Mm-hmm.
having those quiet spaces so that you can actually function and be an active member of society? So it's like such a big thing, but like my partner's going through it. Some of my friends are going through it, like trying to figure it out. Should I buy a house? Should I do all of those things? And it's like, well, girl, what do you want? What do you need? And how much of that want is what you see other people doing versus what you need right now? And is buying a house the best thing? You bought a house, your AC break, and now it's $6,000 and you ain't got it.
Yeah.
Now what? When you could be down to that apartment and get it done for free. So that's why I try to like just balance what is what I need versus what I want, which is why I like kind of slowed down on the job hunt because I was like, all right, well, I have everything that I actually need right here. How do I create better separation between the job and myself?
Yeah. That was that is a good way to think about it. I don't think I've thought about it in that particular way about, what do I need and why do I need
Mm-hmm.
it?
Yeah.
But the other things that, I try not to live with regrets and all those type of things, but
Yeah.
I think just like going through this current like phase in my life, it just makes me think about if if I could have made smarter decisions in the past, whether it was
Yeah.
just from maybe picking a different career, even though I did pick a different career, or like, or just like, just picking a different career, or I don't know, maybe I should have invested in crypto and like
Okay.
when people just told me, or just things like that. And I really don't want to live in regret in that way, but this is just a part of the whole process of thinking about what is the next chapter look like, especially as I'm coming up on 35, and
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have like, how, like sometimes you just feel like you just need, like, what is going to be my next milestone? Like, what is the,
Yeah.
especially when you're younger, you're hitting all these checkpoints and things. You're like, oh my God, I have this new job. I just got these
Yep.
accolades for blah, blah, blah. And those things come at such like a more frequent clip when you're younger. And then once
Yeah.
those things stop happening, you're like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
okay, where do
Is
we go
this
from
life?
here?
It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
girl, this is.
yeah.
That is interesting. I wanted to make sure because I love a definition. So I wanted to go
Mm-hmm.
look up midlife crisis, and it says a period of psychological distress or self-reflection some middle-aged adults experience, typically between the ages of 40 and 60, where they
Mm,
reevaluate life choices, identity, and mortality. And I think that is another element that we don't talk about in midlife crises, but is a larger conversation that I think really is at the core of all of it is mortality. Like, okay,
yeah,
I only have a really short time here. I could be dead tomorrow. So like what can I do right now before I'm dead to like get me more money, to get me this, to for people to see me more. And I think that is a conversation too that always goes like overlooked in like a midlife crisis. Like, well, what is really fueling what I want and what I need? And it's primarily I feel like I need or I want all these things prior to me kicking the bucket. Because
yeah.
if you look around the world, everybody's kicking the bucket for the most random things. Like, oh, I went outside today and went to go check my mailbox and a car hit me. Like, it'd be crazy shit like
Yes,
that. So
so
it's like,
yes.
you want to make sure you're doing all
Mm-hmm.
the things. And so it also makes me think about like therapy too. Like how do you weave therapy in there? And it may not necessarily be like going to see a psychiatrist or a therapist. That therapy could be like you're going to do, grounding yoga every week or whatever. It doesn't have to be those things that I think eventually you should incorporate that, but it doesn't always have to be. But and then it's that feeling of regret, like you mentioned, like, damn, had I not made this choice, would I be further along? One of the things I had to swallow
Mm-hmm.
for a very long time was like, I went to one of the smaller HBCUs in the state. How did that impact the way that I'm able to land a job, how they
Yeah.
see me on a resume, and all of those things, especially with the reputation that Livingstone has had in the public eye? It's like, oh shit, well, did I just fuck myself up with that? And now it's like go into the shame spiral of all the things. And it's like, who am I trying to do this for? Do I have money to make and I have the job that I want that makes me happy? Or am I trying to do it because, my homegirl went to Howard and now she worked for X, and so I need to be trying to chase that? Girl, put that out of my mind because that's not my
Mm-hmm.
life, and I don't know what she's gone through to get there. And so I
Yeah.
think and then with the age of social media too, it makes midlife crises much worse because you see niggas getting all these accolades, moving and shaking and doing all these things. It makes you feel like, okay, well, what is next? And so I think it even could onset the midlife crisis even more. And maybe now that I'm talking about it, maybe that's why I'm the way that I am, and unconsciously around like 2 to 4 years. I know like people start graduating, get new roles. And so I have just naturally maybe become ingrained to say, okay, at that 2 to 4 year mark, I need to be doing something else because I'm starting to see people move and shake. And that could
Yeah.
even be it. And I'm not even at 35 yet. And I'm
Mm,
already thinking about like, oh my God, what is 40 going to look like? What is 50 going to look like? Am I going to have enough money? Do I need to buy a house right now? Is the damn economy going to collapse before I can buy a house? So it is very like scary. And I don't think there's any like definitive answer. And I hate like when we have conversations like this and you want to give people like an answer. And it's like, girl, the only thing I can do is tell you my lived experience. And that's
yeah.
how I guess we try to figure it out because there is no perfect remedy. You apply for the jobs. But it makes me think about people older people from older generations who are like, why y'all changing jobs so much? You better just sit still and show loyalty. But then it's like the loyalty that I'm showing is also costing me my mental health. And so I'm coming home in
Yeah.
tears every afternoon and having to have Sunday scaries on Sunday because I got to go back to work next week. Like that shit is just not for me. So I've been telling people like, just be thoughtful around how you decide to like quit your job because you are going on a self-discovery journey. Like, I feel like I'm on one right now, but my self-discovery journey also is about reality that says, boo, you cannot quit this job because you don't have another one and you need to pay them bills and you need this health insurance. And so just be smart
Okay.
about like when you're going through that self-discovery, like what does it really mean to say, you know, fuck this, I'm gonna quit my job? Like what does that mean? And weigh all those things and decide, like I said earlier, like what is most important to you? What do you actually need? Because I know right now it feels like to grow professionally, you have to have a new job, but it could just be expanding your skill and thinking about
Yeah.
what that skill looks like and how it can then move you either laterally or whatever so that you don't have to think about quitting and going somewhere else. And that's a big conversation. I think that it could also help people to think about what is my skill that I'm maybe not even using right now that could either I could use entrepreneurially or in the workplace that I'm at right now. But I know the girls aren't always entrepreneurs and don't want to be one. So I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
put that on nobody. But also, like, you know, there's no money like making your own money without somebody trying to tell you how you can get it and how you got to operate to get it.
Yeah. That's
It's a
deep.
little scary.
Yeah. There's a lot for me to think about. And I know I'm
Yeah,
sure a lot of other people are thinking about it too. So I do appreciate this conversation because,
absolutely.
folks are just the people are just going through it. I'm just have to collect my thoughts, my
You have to lean on the
feelings on it.
people. You have to lean on the
Yeah.
people.
Well, all right. So this was a wonderful episode.
This was a really great episode.
Yeah, and I look forward to our continuing conversation that we're gonna have next week,
Yes,
with you
absolutely.
all,
Absolutely.
especially on this book. So you all just have a wonderful week.
Yeah.
Take your time. Be
Take your
gentle with
time.
yourself. Yes.
Please talk to yourself kindly, all those
Mm-hmm.
things. Mm-hmm.
All right. And remember to follow us on platforms, give us
On
a
every
like
single one.
and
Like
a
us,
share.
reshare, tell your friends, tell
Yes.
your homegirls, tell your mama. She might like it.
Mm-hmm.
She
Sus
might. It's
V
just not for no
Pod.
kids. It's not for no kids. Don't
It
bring
is
your
not for no
kids over
kids.
here. Uh-uh.
Yeah. All right. So let's get out of here. It's about dinner time and the girls got to eat.